The roasted tomatoes.
Smells so good.
Got one more trick to show you.
All right. Ooh, yummy.
Tomorrow is healthy spaghetti day. So the first thing that I've got to do is start tonight preparing the tomatoes I've been growing in my garden for the tomato sauce. So very easy. I have actually been saving tomatoes for a bit in my freezer. These are cherry tomatoes. They don't have to be those big Romas. This is going to make a delicious tomato sauce, I promise. Also in them, I'm going to put in some red bell pepper slices. Yum. Then I'll be chopping up a couple of garlic cloves, using some olive oil and a little bit of onion powder. And also part of Healthy Spaghetti Day, sourdough sandwich bread. This is gonna be garlic bread tomorrow. It's really good. Let's get these couple cloves of garlic cut up. This is a recipe that I started after we visited Italy. Everything is so fresh there. I mean, but literally when you're walking down the street, they have all of their vegetables and everything right there for you to buy. Bread, baked fresh every day. And it just tastes better. That got me thinking. Started working with some recipes. There's a couple of other secrets to this recipe. I'll show you on tomorrow's video. Before freezing, these cherry tomatoes have all been washed, stems removed, and I've made sure they're good and healthy. And you do want to use these frozen or fresh right from your garden, right? And the reason I say frozen, not thawed, is because if you thaw them, it's just going to be a mess to work with. I'm just going to take these garlic cloves, and you don't have to really worry about chopping them up, because once these are roasted in my oven, they're going to actually go into my food processor. So I don't always put in the red bell pepper, but because I had some, gotta do it. It's gonna be so good. All right, so we're just gonna drizzle a couple of tablespoons of olive oil on each pan. Now when I take this out of the oven, it's gonna be nice, roasted, soupy stuff that I will just throw into the food processor. Now we're gonna just use a little bit of onion powder. This is gonna smell like heaven. Gonna pop them in the oven on 425 for 35 minutes. All right, we're back, and it's almost time to take these out of the oven. Now, joining me here in the kitchen because he's getting his dinner ready.
Yeah.
Monster Todd. But I just need you to tell him, how good is this homemade spaghetti?
Oh my God. Like everything you're doing out here smells so good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, from the bread all the way to the sauce, everything.
Oh, spectacular. It's the best spaghetti I've ever had.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good.
Don't burn yourself. Dang, that does look good.
These are the roasted tomatoes and garlic and red peppers. It smells amazing. So now I'm just going to take them, scrape everything to one side. Now, if you want to, like if you're bothered by the seeds and the peels, which I'm not because it all goes in the food processor, Michael Todd's not bothered by it either, you can run all of this through a food mill. This is going to be so good. So once I run this through the food processor, I will put it in mason jars and let it sit in the fridge overnight. Just helps all of those seasonings to get really settled in. Now let's go. See how beautiful thick it is. Alrighty, so I would just repeat that again with another tray of tomatoes in the oven. Add it to these jars, and then tomorrow we finish it up. Alright, so now it's time to get my spaghetti sauce going. Like for it to simmer for a couple of hours. Now, one thing I did not grow in my garden this year, I didn't start till late March, so I did not grow garlic. So I just bought garlic cloves from the store. Now I did put a clove in with each pan when I roasted the tomatoes last night. But I still want just a little bit more. And y'all, my kitchen is about to smell amazing. It's gonna be so good. When we were headed to Italy back in 2017, and we were sitting in the airport, a sweet elderly man from Sicily started telling me how to make spaghetti sauce. And what he said was, you always have to do this first. You must take fresh garlic and 2 tablespoons of olive oil, put it in the bottom of your pan, and you're gonna saute this fresh garlic first. Do not just throw fresh garlic into the sauce that's already been making. Saute it first. It matters. And so since he told me that, I've been doing it this way. And I gotta tell you, we don't eat out Italian anymore. We eat it at home because it's really good stuff. All right, so I'm gonna put this over here on the stove. I've got that heating on the stove top on medium just until it gets warm enough that it starts to simmer. Then I turn it down to where there's just the tiniest bit of flame. Just gonna be stirring it continuously until it gets nice and golden. Now I'm going to remove it from the heat because it'll continue to cook just a little bit in that oil. Just so you can see the color there. It smells good. Doesn't it smell good? So now is the time that I go ahead and add the rest of the sauce. So I went ahead and stuck it in the food processor one more time after pulling it out of the fridge, just so that it is really good and pureed. All right, so I have stirred all of the garlic into my sauce. Now it's time to add the rest of the good stuff. Tablespoon of stevia, teaspoon of red pepper flakes, half teaspoon of salt, half teaspoon cayenne pepper, 1 teaspoon Italian seasoning. Let you get a good look at that. All right, so now I'm going to put it on the stove and I'm going to warm it up. Put it on just above medium, just until it starts bubbling, and then I'll cover it and turn it down between medium and low. And that's where it will simmer for a good little while until I finally, after about 15 minutes, stir all around the sides, turn it all the way down to simmer, and it'll stay there for about an hour. In the meantime, I'll be browning the ground beef. My husband likes meat in his spaghetti sauce. I'm using 96.4 ground beef. You can use turkey. Some people that use Italian sausage. You can use ground chicken. It doesn't matter. If you want meat, use whatever you prefer. So it's time to add the ground beef to my sauce. Now, I prepared this ground beef just by adding some onion flakes, some salt and pepper, and I just went ahead and browned it with the lid on. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put it in my food processor because we like our meat, even though we want sauce with meat, we don't want it to be big chunks. So I'm going to use the food processor to kind of ground it up even more fine before I actually dump it into my spaghetti sauce. Now, the only thing that will be left to add to the spaghetti sauce is some fresh basil from my garden, which I will do that in the last 5 minutes. So let's get to work. Perfect. Now I drain the ground beef, but I don't wash it because I want some of those flavors in there with it, right? All right, so we're over here on my stove top. I'm gonna add this ground beef in. Once I add the ground beef, I'll continue to let it simmer for about another 30-45 minutes, just to be sure that the taste goes all the way through the ground beef through the sauce before we add in that pasta. See that? Okay, I'm going to move this to the back on low because I'll be making my pasta up here. I'm gonna go ahead and cover it because I want to keep all this condensation in there. Don't want it drying out. Now let's prep the bread. Okay, while I'm prepping it, I'm gonna start melting the butter. All right, I got some fresh parsley from my garden. I'm gonna go ahead and pick it apart. You don't need a lot. Sometimes it's easier just to use your fingers. I'm going to go ahead and throw the parsley in with the butter. A few shakes of garlic powder. A couple of twists of salt. Stir it in there. Return it. Turn that over to low. And it smells so good. Sandwich bread, this recipe, how it's different from traditional sourdough, is it actually has honey and olive oil in it, whereas traditional sourdough is simply flour, water, and salt. Olive oil makes it really soft. I'm gonna go ahead and slice off a few pieces. Look how easy it cuts. I mean, it's like ridiculous. So it only has 12 grams of honey per loaf, so it's not really sweet. Like, you can't taste it, but my grandson does love it. Turn it over on its ends. Keeps that from drying out. It's gonna go in my air fryer. So I melted just over half a stick of butter. But truly, when you're doing this, it's just, you go by taste. What you like. All right. I'm gonna put these in the air fryer, but I'm not turning the air fryer on until I'm about ready to serve. Now, if you were like me and had been making pasta your whole life in a pan that looks like this, about to change things for you. Much better to use a pan like this. You just want to add enough water to the pan to have a couple inches. This is the next important thing. Do not put oil in the water. Okay? You're going to salt the water and salt it well. But when you put oil in the water, the sauce that you've spent all this time making is going to slide right off the pasta. So you're going to heat that water to boiling with the pasta in it, and then you're going to back off the temperature because we don't want it boiling over, right? I want to cook it for about 7 to 8 minutes from the time that it started boiling. Not just going to keep stirring it. What I'm going to use is tongs to actually just kind of be turning it over, and that's what's going to keep it from sticking together. But before you dump out that water, when you're done, got one more trick to show you. All right, it has come time to put this dish together. I've cooked the pasta, added the basil to the spaghetti sauce for the last few minutes. Now it's time to combine them. So, pay attention. I'm gonna add the pasta first. Notice I have not drained the pasta. There's a reason for that. Remember, I told you don't put oil in it. Because the whole thing is we want our sauce that we spent so much time making to actually adhere a bit to the pasta, right? Okay, now this is a step you don't have to do. I do this for my husband. I just cut the spaghetti noodles. That way he's not, with his big old beard, he's not chasing foot-long spaghetti noodles. Now we're gonna add the pasta sauce. The great thing about this pasta sauce is I will be able to freeze in a gallon bag some sauce for next week. So the thing is, you put it in a gallon freezer bag and you lay it flat. Once it freezes, you can stand up and you can actually just stack them like a shelf, like books on a shelf is what I meant. All right, so I've got my pasta sauce just on top of the spaghetti noodles. All right, no big deal. Now you're gonna take some of this water from the spaghetti. And if this were to dry, you would see that it's not really water. It would be more gelatinous, for real. And that's the starches from the spaghetti. So I'm gonna pour it over his bowl. Then I'm gonna stir it all together. Yum. We like Parmesan cheese on ours. You can use that grated stuff. I've got some. The grated dry stuff. But I gotta tell you, this tastes so much better. You'll find it in their refrigerated aisle. It tastes fresher, it has more flavor. You can also just buy Parmesan whole and shred it yourself. Even better. But when you spend so much time making your spaghetti, I'm telling you, don't do that. Got our yummy bread.
Right. Ooh, yummy.
Might be a little hot, so blow on it.
That's good. Definitely worth the wait. Thank you, baby.
There you go. I'll come up and join you. All right, guys, gonna take a little break, and then I'll be back to make that cake.